Good evening, Diane again here. Okay, so it's a few days into our 30-day or 32 authors promo deal, and I see that there is a bit of confusion. So I thought I would try to clear it up a little bit. Now, people are having trouble finding things that they want to share from one author's promo feed to their feeds. And the reason why is because a lot of people are posting only links that are specifically about where to buy their books, what the book trailers are, and how, everything is specifically book related. Now, this is what I mean by buy my book spam, right? Buy my book spam is when you're talking about, here's where to buy my book. And it'll include a trailer or, I don't know, book trailers kind of fall into a category because they're usually pretty and interesting to look at, but they count, right? Teaser posts, Amazon links. If it's got a, you can find my book here, if it's got a, this is the cover of my book specifically, right? If it's got, here's what the book costs, the book's on sale now, anything like that. This is what I'm referring to as buy my book spam. Now, as an indie author, you have to have this stuff. You have to have it, right? Because nobody else is going to talk about where to find your book, right? It's not like you have Doubleday advertising for you. You have to do it. And social media is kind of the point, right? This is part of what we're doing, is advertising our stuff, putting it out there so that people can see it and know that we're writing about these things and think maybe they might want to read it. But if that's all you're putting on your Twitter page or your Facebook feed, you read like an infomercial. It's like the shopping channel. Right? Now, some people like the shopping channel. I don't like the shopping channel. I'm not interested in the shopping channel. Eventually, all the books are all going to look like one or the other, even if it's not just your book. Even if you're advertising your book and other people's books and nothing else, it's still going to look like a commercial channel, right? Like, I could go to Walmart and get, like, the daily specials, but I'm not interested in that. I find this boring, and most people do too. This is fine for when you're sharing stuff between you and your friends and other people that you've made promotional agreements with, but that's all that's going to look at it. You're not going to find new readers this way. So I'm going to show you some examples of different Twitter feeds that I've fired up. Now, these are all Twitter feeds that I follow, and I'm going to show you kind of a general idea of, what I'm talking about and why that's not the best idea. Kind of a medium level accomplishment in terms of the amount of advertising versus the amount of information, right? What a couple of famous writers do, and I'll even show you my own page just so that, full disclosure, right? Okay, so turning the camera around here. Alright, so this is my own page. We're not actually going to start here. Now, I tried very hard to find an example of what I don't think is the best way to do, who is not in the group, right? So I didn't want to make anybody feel like I was, trying to embarrass them or anything. I'm really not, right? Now, this wonderful lady, she's a nice person. Her name is Felicia Beasley. I've worked with her before in a couple of different takeovers. I like her. She's a nice person. Please don't think that I mean anything negative at all towards her, right? But this is a good example of how a page can quickly become overwhelmed with advertisements, right? Okay, so the first thing on her page is, pre-order Myth and Magic, right? Then, Myth and Magic, it will take you to the edge of your imagination. Right? Do you dare enter the Myth and Magic universe? 21 tales await in Myth and Magic. I'm bored already, right? Okay, unleash the magic in fire and fantasy. More Myth and Magic. Shattered Worlds, Myth and Magic. Right? Pre-order Legends box set and coloring book, right? You see where I'm going with this, right? It's all buy this book, buy that book, buy the other book, buy this book, buy my friend's books. This is great if you're talking to your friends and other independent authors who have a vested interest already in sharing your information. But the average person who is looking at a Twitter feed is not going to care, right? And you're going to end up in this little echo chamber where all the people that you're talking to are all other indie authors trying to sell each other's books. And, you know, it's not like we all have a lot of money, right? We're all going to read each other's books when we have free sales and things. We're probably not going to go out and buy a lot of them from each other otherwise. We're going to try because we want to support each other, right? But we're trying to sell our books, right? So, okay. So that's, you know, again, Felicia is a very nice person. I like her. She's friendly. She's fun. She's, you know, I don't think this is at all negative towards her. I just wanted to show how easy it is for somebody who is a nice person and who probably means really well for their feed to be kind of overwhelmed with commercials. Okay, so now we're going to look at the next person here. Let's see. Yes, okay, so this person is doing a good job of this. Okay, now her name is, I don't know how to pronounce that, Claire M. Banschbach, right? I just discovered her recently because somebody shared one of her memes that I really liked. And I thought that I wanted to follow her so if she wrote more of these memes, we could find out. Right, there's her personal information there. It's kind of interesting, too, because she says, first thing, Catholic, right? You know, normally I would find that kind of off-putting, right? Because I'm a pagan, right? And I'd be like, I don't know. But, okay, she says that, but she doesn't talk about it a huge amount. Now, I do, because I write pagan books. I talk about being a pagan, but that's part of my branding, right? But I'm like, okay. All right, writing as explained by the Princess Bride. This was a hilarious article in which she explained writing by memes taken from The Princess Bride, which is one of my favorite movies, so I thought that was great. Personal comment. Spending a lazy Sunday afternoon reading. Been way too long since I've done this. Need help organizing your story? Ever tried the Right Mind Planner? Right? Giveaway for authors. Okay, we have a little bit of author spam. That's all right. The Wolf Prince is off to the editor. Bites nails. You know, okay, that's a personal interaction. All right, so my book's out there, and I'm like, I'm a little nervous, and we get to see her vulnerability, right? Quote from my work in progress, there's someone here to see you, and I can only read it in Mr. Beaver's voice. Help. That's funny, right? We've all been there, had these little thoughts. I now know where the Barnes & Nobles and half-price books are in my area. My next paycheck might be in danger. Yeah, totally, right? Book nerds, I can relate. So, you know, formatting services for indie authors, 900 followers, awesome, thanks, you know. Oh, supposed to be proofing my book but keep falling asleep. Here's stuff about her blog tour, right? Okay, so I'm continuing to read. It's not all a bunch of commercials, right? There's commercials. They're interwoven into the middle of the rest of the regular show, which is who she is, what she likes, what she thinks about the writing process. You know, people care about these things with writers. Okay, so, famous writers. This is Stephen King's Twitter page. Now, his Twitter page isn't even that well set up. And you know what? He can afford for it not to be because he's famous and he was famous before there was Twitter, right? So, Stephen King, author, picture, right? Okay, so he's got kind of a mediocre thing going on as far as Twitter interaction goes. I still follow his Twitter because he is one of my favorite writers. But it's, you know, it's kind of, this is a guy who's trying to interact with people, which is cool, and he's totally doing that right. What he's not doing as well as our friend Claire over here, right, is that he doesn't have as many pretty pictures. Yes, this makes a difference. People actually are interested in pretty pictures. They will look for them and focus on them, and it matters. Okay, so political comment. You're allowed to have a few of those. You can't have all of them as political comments. Right? This is about a book he's reading here. Where does this line come from? Sad, 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 George and Martha, no internet peeking. He does this occasionally. He'll quote a favorite song. We all know he's into classic rock and, classic rock and roll, and he talks about it, right? John Ashbery and Walter Becker died today. Which do you think will get the lead obit in tomorrow's Times? Both fine, but hoping for Ashbery. Right, so you can tell that these people mattered to him, and he's got a bit of a sarcastic, black sense of humor about it, right? Dark humor, right? Which we knew if we read his books, right? The It movie coming out, he's got a little blurb from the trailer, right? Recommendation for a book he liked. Another political comment. His opinion on an audio version of a book going on. Yeah, Owen King. I think that's his son, right? Yeah. This one's a humorous political comment. Oh, Mr. Mercedes is back tonight on Audience Network. Climb board, right? So, he's still putting out stuff about this is where you can find my work, right? And then, Twitter response to 1,000 satellite channels of crap. Why are there so many cooking shows? So, okay, you get an idea. At least he's interacting with his readers. You get his sense of his personality, right? You get a sense of his interests. You get an idea of, what he likes, what he dislikes. Now, Patrick Rothfuss is another author you may have heard of. He writes some of my favorite books of all time. This is a guy who is doing a better job of Twitter because he is a nerd who is around my age, so he kind of gets it. I love his, I gotta back up so you can see the whole picture, his cover picture, right? That's his best known character right there, and that is an illustration of him. So, right? Whenever you start to question your own artistic choices, just remember, Picasso drew a butt. This is his pinned post. Okay, we know right away you have an interest in history and a wacko sense of humor. And that pretty much describes Patrick Rothfuss. So here he is, another sense of humor thing, a lettuce selfie. Telling people sort of to, not tell him to finish a book because he doesn't like being told what to do. That's probably not the best choice, but... Okay, so he's involved in this Kickstarter project with characters in a tarot deck, and he's been doing some research about tarot as a result. Okay, smart-ass response to a question, which is kind of funny. Right? Chocolate flowers, which he's making. Someone's been making an entirely wrong set of cards. The Name of the Wind art deck. Ooh, that's interesting. See, now I'm interested in that project, right? Just random comment. There's a baby on this plane and I want to cuddle it. Right? Words you didn't know. You get the idea, right? So that's a mix of stuff, right? Your Twitter page should show, just by the things that you like and share. Kind of stuff you're interested in, a general idea of your personality. You should talk about the stuff you're working on, but in a personal, involved way, not in a... you can still do it. You can still do hey, the sale for Chasing Fireflies is ending soon. I've done that because I have a story in that book, and it's ending. So people might want to know. Go get your book cheap, right? But I've got that in the middle of a whole bunch of other stuff about, who my characters are in my work in progress, and, I don't know, science fiction artwork and stuff. Here. Okay, so this is my page. This illustration is a cover design for a book in my fantasy space opera series. Okay, so here's my my pinned post. It is by my book Spam. That is my pinned post. So you know I'm an author and I'm working on stuff. Because you haven't heard of me yet, so maybe you want to know that, right? Interesting stuff from another author about the Beatles when they were kids. You know, just because I thought it was neat. There's one from a sci-fi art channel that I follow. There's my Buy My Book Spam, you know, sale is ending soon. NASA Voyager is still operating. I'm subscribed to NASA's Twitter account because I think they're awesome. I'm a space nerd. Did you know that jellyfish evaporate in sunlight because they're over 98% water? I did not know that. I thought that was interesting. Right? Inspiration! Beautiful space pictures. Okay, my cast of characters increases. I'm kind of joking. This is a thread I started because I've got to follow this to its end. Okay, so I saw this story. Schoolgirl pulls 4-foot sword from Cornish Lake. I'm like, oh yeah. Right, so somebody responded to that and said, okay, this girl now rules Britain. Those are the rules. There are books about this. Send her to number 10 immediately. You know, humorous thing for fantasy people, right? So I posted this, the once and future queen. I am totally writing a story about this. Alright, this is my lesson in hashtags. Hashtag 32 authors. That's our hashtag. Hashtag spec women chat. That's for interacting with other women if you're a speculative fiction writer who also writes speculative fiction. M writing fantasy, right? And hashtag I saw it first, right? Which of course me being humorous about, you know. So I have a story idea and you guys can't steal it, right? And then someone posted this later, so instead of reposting it, I linked it. Arthur and Merlin. You guys remember this picture going around of this cute girl and this, you know, ticked off looking owl, and you're like, student at Hogwarts, you know? So I said, oh, my cast of characters increases, right? So anyway, you get the idea. Here's a thing about, you know, reindeer running through Norway, which I thought was really pretty. I like nature stuff. Me being a sarcastic political joke, right? The losing screen of the game, balance of power stuck in my head. You have ignited a nuclear war, and no, there's no animated display of a mushroom cloud of parts of bodies flying through the air. We do not reward failure. I thought it was hilarious. I have a bit of a dark humor streak too. Anyway, right. I hope that gives a clearer idea of the kind of things I'm talking about when I say, you know, oh, post an inspirational quote about writing. Okay, why didn't you guys see your posts? Because I've been busy posting today. I've been on social media a good part of the day. So I posted lots of stuff early this morning when I got up. That's part of my routine. But you did not see it in the end of the feed. I will show you. Let's see here. All right. What was I working on this morning? There's probably working on this morning. I was talking about Labor Day. So, there's one of my, so there's one of my focus group there. And I retweeted her tweet because she wrote this really awesome. There it is. Meeting my monster. She was talking about how, you know, her own personal monsters in writing. You know, I can fix a bad page, I can't fix a blank page. I'm on an account called Wipe Homophobia and Wipe Transphobia because I believe in LGBTQ rights and I talk about that. Right? How many books in your to-read pile? Okay. I'm talking about the labor movement, and there's some major strikes going on today, which I thought were interesting considering it's Labor Day. Sci-fi art. Stuff about revision guidelines. This is a guide to how to read Terry Pratchett books in the Discworld series. There's my inspirational quote, which I shared for the day for Motivation Monday, which I recommended. There's a blog post I made. Sci-fi art. There's something from another one of my focus group I'm sharing. Notice that you don't have to put hashtag 32 authors on everything. It just kind of helps to find things. So anyway, you get the idea, right? I am sharing stuff, right? And but it's all part of different things, you know? So may I please recommend that if you have made your 3 to 5 permalinks to Twitter and Facebook posts, would you, if they're all like teasers or, you know, indie author takes the world by storm or anything like that, can you change about 3 out of the 5 of them to something that isn't that? You know, look at this cool art picture, you know. Oh, hey, aren't deer running across the ground really interesting? Hey, I've, signed this petition. Can you guys sign this petition too? Just anything else that kind of gives a feeling for who you are, not, not a commercial, right? We got to do commercials. It's got to be part of what we do. Nobody else is going to do it for us, but we're not going to attract a lot of new readers that way. We got to slip them in every 15 minutes or so, kind of like the TV networks do. Okay? Thanks, guys, and hopefully that helps. Please continue to send me your questions and concerns, and I will do my best to address them. Okay? Have a good night. Bye-bye.